two great truths never forget. First of all, God, the God who provides the water, can also withhold the water. Let me say it again. The God who provides the water can also withhold the water. He is in control of our lives. As Elijah was about to find out, God had another place already prepared for him. So it is with us. When our brook dries up, God has another channel of blessing already lined up for us. So when you come to your brook chariot, and you're there where God wants you, and God orchestrated a situation, remember now, Elijah is dwelling at Brook chariot. He has set a post. He has got comfortable. But every morning, the raven is bringing him food. Every evening, the raven is bringing him food. And every day, he's drinking from the Brook chariot. He's relaxed. He's at peace. Now God is saying, Elijah, the lesson has been learned. You're now becoming the man of God that I want you to be. And I need to move you from Brook chariot. And as long as the ravens are coming in the morning and in the evening, as long as there's water in the brook for you, you're not going to leave. And for you to leave, I got to root some things up. And so what God does, He who provides the water decides to stop the water. But the second thing I want you to remember, when you come to your brook chariot is to dried up. A dry brook is not always a sign of God's displeasure. A dry brook is not always a sign of God's displeasure. Certainly, God uses events in our life to chasten us when we walk outside of His will. However, there are times when He will let our brook dry up in the midst of our serving Him. When we are there serving God and being faithful to God and exactly where God wants us, He will let our brook dry up. It happened to Abraham when he was called to offer Isaac. It happened to Joseph as he ministered in Potiphar's house. It happened to Paul as he faithfully served in Lystra. It happened to Jesus as he agonized in Gethsemane. And as He gave us life, His life as a ransom for our sin. And the fact is, when you're serving God, when God ready to move you on to somewhere else, He's going to dry your brook up. He's going to dry your brook up. You got to understand that. Sometimes, church, the brooks of life dries up because God is pleased with us and desire to take us to new and better things. He knows us. He knows that we would reluctantly leave the place where everything is going perfectly. Therefore, He will dry up our brook, causing us to be willing to go where He leads us. God will uproot some things. He will trouble the waters in your life. Because He's getting ready to lead you to some other direction in your life. You got to be willing to listen and hear what God is saying. The spiritual ear got to be open so you can hear God. And so sometimes God allows your brooks to dry up because you are guilty of trusting your brook more than trusting Him. So He allows it to dry up. We are to learn to look to the Lord and not to His gift. Look to God, not His gift. Even when the gifts are gone, we are to trust Him by faith. Trust God in spite of. So God orchestrated the plan, the brook dried up. A devastated prophet. I can hardly imagine how Elijah must have felt as the brook dried up before his very eyes. I wonder if he felt abandoned and forsaken. I wonder if he felt that God has somehow let him down. wondered, okay, God, you brought me to this place in my life. You brought me here. Where are you, God? The brook dries up. Have you all felt abandoned by the Lord? When one of your brooks dried up? I just want you to know that God hasn't forsaken you. In fact, when you are standing there looking at your dry brook, you are more of his concern than at any other time. Friends, believers, church, he cannot forget you. Notice what he promised in Isaiah chapter 49. The Bible says in Isaiah 49, verse 14 to 16, and I'm paraphrasing the verses. God says, can a woman forget her suckling child, and etc.? Yes, she may. God's Bible will never forget you. He said, because I have engraven you in the palm of my hand. Every time I look at my hands, I see you. You've been engraving God's hand. God will often allow his people to sit by a dry brook. He'll often allow that to happen. And when it happens, and it will, never believe for an instant that God has somehow forgotten you or forsaken you. Never do that. If you are in his will, where he wants you to be, then you can rest in his promise to take care of you. Like Elijah, your brook dries up, God has a new channel of blessing, and it will be revealed in his time. God will open the door. Look at it, not just a devastating prophet, the dry brook, but a dynamic situation. For Elijah, the dry brook should have been something that he shouted about. Elijah should have shouted about the dry brook. Why? Because of two things. Two reasons why Elijah should have shouted the dry brook. His prayers have been answered. Now remember, in verse 1, Elijah walked into King Ahab's house and palace and said, there'll be no rain until I say so. As a result of no rain, the brook dried up. Woo! God, you answered my prayer. Hallelujah. That should have been his result. The Bible says in James chapter 5, verse 17 to 18, that Elijah prayed that it will not rain, and it did not rain. So the first thing Elijah should have been shouting about, my prayers have been answered. I pray that it will not rain, and it's not raining. Secondly, his prophecy had been fulfilled. Verse 1 of our text again. It will not rain until I say so. When I say it's going to rain, it's going to rain. His prophecy was fulfilled. And therefore Elijah should have prayed. Elijah's dry brook came about because God was pleased with the prophet. That's why the brook came. God was happy and pleased with Elijah. That doesn't make sense from the human standpoint, but it's true nonetheless. We need to come to the place where we understand that God dries up the brook of life because he has something even bigger just down the road. That's why the brook dried up. Sometimes the brook dries up because you have done everything correctly. Now that don't sound like it makes sense, but if you can grasp this truth, when your situation goes difficult in your life, you'll understand that I've been praying, I've been serving, I've been fasting, I've been doing what God wants me to do, and everything falls apart. Understand that God has something greater on the road, just for you. So he tries to brook up. Sometimes the brook dries up because you've done everything right. God has just chosen that the dry brook is the vehicle to move you to a new place of blessings. Get that. If you miss anything today, don't miss this. Don't miss the fact that God dries up your brook. You've been in the university of God's dry brook. And now He has dried it up. He's orchestrated another situation because He has another plan and a better and a bigger plan for you. So I close. Remember that God is sending Elijah to school. He is training a prophet. He is building a man of God. God knows that before Elijah can stand up in power on Carmel, he must first be broken a chariot. His goal is the same in our lives today. Many of us have attended the same university that Elijah attended. We are alumni of Dry Brook University. Others of us are just enrolling. Brooks are beginning to dry up in our lives. You wonder what to do and how you will make it. May I advise you today? My advice to you today is that you come to the place early where you roll everything off unto the Lord and you trust Him to take care of you. Whatever it is, whether you're about to enroll in the Brook chariot or you're about to come out and graduate on a Brook chariot, because God has orchestrated some stuff to drive your brook up. My advice is that you roll everything off onto the Lord and you trust Him. If you're a child of God, may help you to come to the place where you realize that everything that happened in your life is a part of God's plans for you. Come to that place in your life that everything that happens in your life is a part of God's plans. And that nothing can happen to you or happen in you or to you that God does not allow. Romans 8:28. Remember Job. Job is an encouragement for me. God brought things in Job's life. God makes all the dry brooks dried up easier to deal with when you understand Job. Make the dry brooks much easier to understand. And Job says, Lord, you can do anything. Anything you please you can do, and God does. There's a need this morning in your life. I'm going to encourage you to bring it before the Lord God Almighty. If salvation is needed, you need to come. If you're standing looking at a brook that is drying up right in front of you right now, you need to come to God. If you need the Lord to move in your life, you need to come to God. If you feel abandoned or forsaken by God, you need to come to God. Whatever the need is, Jesus can meet it today. Would you come? Would you trust Him? Would you allow Him to work in your life at your Dry Brook University? You're in God's university today. Whatever you're faced with, if you're a child of God, God is teaching you a lesson. Heed it. Walk and trust God. As God rebirthed some stuff in you, watch God work. Father in heaven, we give you thanks, we give you praise. We thank you for your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. We thank you, Lord, that whatever you bring into our lives and you put us through, is by no means a surprise or catches you off guard. For us, Lord, help us to learn the lesson that we need to learn as you work in us and through us. But for that one today that are in there at their Brook chariot, they have gone through the University of Dry Brook, so now you brought them out. You're preparing them, Lord, to enter into a new season. I pray, God, that they'll wait for your timing when you would open the door at the right appropriate time. Help us, Lord, to learn to rejoice in our Brook chariot, because we have done everything correctly and right. You have a plan and a purpose to take us to another level in our walk, in our relationship with you. Give grace today, dear God, that you may get glory in and through our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.